What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the last match of the group stages from the defense, and that means we're getting into the playoff territory, so I hope you all are super hyped for all the amazing matches that are coming up very soon. And both of these teams have currently qualified, and in fact, the top 4 teams from each group qualify, and this group had Dare, EG, Mouse as some of the prominent teams. And right now, Mouse has a secure lead on first place because they have one of the best time ratings, and EG and Dare have second place tie. And of course, both teams are going to be trying their hardest, even though they're already guaranteed in the playoff, just so they can get a better seed, so they want to face somebody as difficult as, say, Navi in the first round, or anything like that. So we'll see how both teams decide to play. We see EG playing with their full roster. There was a bit of time where they had played with stands, but now in the past week or 2 weeks, they played with their full roster. A little bit of controversy surrounding EG since the It's Gosu Monthly Madness in the Join Dota Open, but still they have performed admirably and have looked really in tip-top shape. And keep in mind they haven't been boot camping up. They're going to be boot camping up for the International 2 coming up very shortly. So EG, they did take the It's Gosu Monthly Madness, defeating American counterparts Complexity in a best of 3, best of 5, 3-0. It was pretty one-sided. So EG looking in tip-top shape. Meanwhile, Dare, they had qualified for the Starlighter LAN tournament, one of the few teams who did qualify who can actually make it to the game, as we see Artstyle disconnecting. Artstyle is not doing the picking this game. It looks like Goblin is, but it looks like Artstyle just reconnected. But you can see Artstyle is still the captain because he has that D next to his name. So it's Idrar, apparently, for the Dare squad, since they always put those letters. But anyway, enough of the jibber-jabbering. Let's get into the picks and bans. So right now, we see Darkseer, Lycanthrope being immediately banned. Now, will we see the respective bans for Dare and EG? Are we going to see heroes like Clinks, like Bane, Eastern European heroes who receive a lot of attention being banned by EG in response to Dare? They all fear Artstyle's Enchantress, one of the first people who made Enchantress extremely popular in the Dota 1 scene. And I'm sure he's been making it work very well in the Dota 2 scene as well. And meanwhile, it's going to remain to see if Dare treats EG with the same courtesy and bans some of the heroes that EG is most famous for. EG has been employing Batrider, Nyx a lot, Morphling a lot, so we'll see if they ban some of those hard carries that Fear loves to play. So Broodmother is going to be second banned by Dare, preventing some of that push, and Broodmother is just such an annoying hero to deal with, especially when you don't have a hero like Darkseer, as Nature's Prophet is going to get the ban. So right now we see there are a couple of heroes in the pool that might be picked up with the first couple of picks. Windrunner, Panda, Invoker, of course. So we'll see what Dare decides to ban here because EG does have the first pick. So they're going to have to pick their poison, or maybe they just won't ban either of them and hopefully they'll pick up 2 top tier heroes with their first 2 picks themselves. They decide to ban the Enigma, eliminating some of EG's team fight. Universe, of course, plays a magnificent long lane solo Enigma and just gets very aggressive. Lands black holes right on the tip. And we see a Chen opening pick followed by a Leshrac Invoker countered by Dare. So, pretty strong picks opening up by Dare. Meanwhile, Chen, of course, opens up a lot of avenues. But unlike these other 2 heroes, Chen doesn't really scale as effectively in the late game unless he gets a lot of things done. But still, the early game power of Chen, especially a Milk Chen, one of the most famous Chens of all time, with the Hand of God, with the pushing that he does, and it'll be certainly very interesting to see how this game will shape up with Leshrac and Chen both pushing at very early levels. I expect God to be playing the Invoker for the Dare squad just to solo mid it up as long as possible so he can get the requisite farm needed to push in. So there's still a couple heroes left. There's a Brewmaster, there's something like a Lone Druid if they want to do that. Lone Druid has been a bit more popular recently. He had a little bit of a dying out for about a month after he was introduced, but recently, due to the success of MTW and the Chinese making him work extremely well, Lone Druid has definitely seen a resurgence in his viability. As we see the Brewmaster being picked up by EG, so most likely he's going to be soloing mid, but right now Chen opens up a lot of possibilities. You see a Shadow Demon as well, so ganking roaming Shadow Demon, very powerful. No heroes that synergize quite well with the disruption just yet, but Shadow Demon is just such an overall useful hero. But right now, we see that EG has picked up very strong early to mid game heroes, and if they go to the late game, they're gonna have a bit of trouble. Chen, of course, has trouble in the late game when the creeps do not become as effective. Shadow Demon, of course, does not become as effective as he is in the mid game when he transitions into the late game, just because poison doesn't do as much and people are able to tank up against Soul Catcher damage. And Brewmaster, once you get to a requisite level, you can start outlasting the Panda illusions, the splits, and just start picking them off. So they're going to have to be careful if Adair drags us out to late game. We see a Lone Druid being picked up by Goblin, so Lone Druid have all of their requisite late game, but now they're going to have to get some turtling power. And they're going to have to get survivability as well, because Panda and Shadow Demon were just going to tear through them with Soul Catcher and the Panda Ultimate. So we'll see what direction Dare decides to go for. Unfortunately, depending on the Invoker build, Invoker does not get very tanky. If he goes for Quas Wex, he'll be able to outrun the Pandas for a lot of it. But if he goes for the more standard Exhort build these days, it's going to be pretty difficult to survive the Panda unless he gets very, very strong early game. Leshrac, of course, always very squishy. Unless he's played as sort of the farmer in a lane, and not as a support in a dual lane, which we see so very often. Chaos Knight and Tidehunter being banned up by the EG squad. Not really too sure if Dare would have picked up Chaos Knight or Tidehunter. They might have picked up Tidehunter just because he's a strong laning hero with a ridiculous ultimate, one of the best ultimates in the game. In my opinion, the best ultimate in the game. But still, not really too sure if Dare would have picked them up just because they have heroes who require decent experience. And Chaos Knight, unfortunately, I always say this, but he doesn't seem to win, poor guy. Teams just can't really use him as effectively. He's a strong chaser, and he scales very well into the late game part of the game, but he just gets out-carried by a lot of heroes. And if he dies, because he plays very aggressively, he doesn't really farm as much, and if he dies when he ganks, then he's going to be in a lot of trouble. But right now, he's completely eliminated from the pool, and we're going to see Tinker and Winter being banned up by the Dare squad. Tinker making a resurgence as of late, with his insane mobility, able to farm anywhere on the map, even able to farm Ancients, as you can see from Loomis's jungling Ancient guide. And of course, Tinker, Bulbous Tinker is something that you definitely have to throw out a respect ban for. EG going with a bit more of a burst damage, chasing heavy lineup with the Queen of Pain. They have a lot of mobility on their side. And Chen, of course, with the Holy Persuasion, can send back the allies anytime they're in trouble with the Holy Persuasion to send them back to heal. So right now, EG has a lot of burst damage, but unfortunately they're not very tanky. So let's see if they pick up a tanky hero with their last pick. Will they go for another semi-carry? Right now they have two pretty heavy farmers with the Panda and the Queen of Pain. But once Panda picks up all the farm, he doesn't really need too much after that. He just needs a Blink Dagger and the drums if he wants to go for that. And that's pretty much all he needs in order to be truly effective. What he really needs is fast levels. And I expect Panda to solo mid, Queen of Pain to solo one of the long lanes, probably the bottom lane with Chen in the jungle, and maybe a Shadow Demon supporting another strong dual lane hero up on the top lane. Or we're just going to see the lane swapped around. We'll see what EG decides to pick up with our last pick. Meanwhile, Dare picks up the Wisp, so this is a pretty interesting pick. Wisp has been performing very reasonably since he's been introduced. I think he has about a 50% in Captain's Mode. Keep in mind, he's only been released in Captain's Mode for about, I think like 6 days. So we don't really have a large enough sample size. We know next KZ loves to use them. We know Navi likes to use them. So we'll see how Dare decides to use them. But right now, there's no real strong gankers that Wisp can synergize well. And one of the strengths of Wisp is that he can tether an ally and just relocate around the map and just start ganking. And if he has some global support with the help of the Nature's Prophet or with the help of a Boots of Travel carrier, then he can just pick off kills left and right. But Wisp will synergize pretty well with the Lone Druid, giving some much needed chasing ability. And if the game does go late, then the Overcharge will be extremely beneficial in terms of increasing the Lone Druid's tank ability, and of course buffing his bears to ridiculous margin. Can the tether work on the bear? I'm not really too sure of that interaction, but we will see. If not, you can just put on the hero, and the hero can just go batshit crazy over the towers.
10 seconds remaining.
You know, EG, they have a lot of chasing, and they're going to pick up a Nyx. So one of Fear's favorite heroes being picked up rather than a Morphling. Morphling might have required too much farm to lane in order to get the most out of their lineup. Chen and Panda really want to be pushing early along with the Shadow Demon, and Morphling sort of needs a lineup that can hold his own with the late game, so he's not the only one left in the middle of a team fight. Nyx gets much more powerful, much more early on. He can take a lot. One of the problems is that he's melee, and he gets completely countered by a Ghost Scepter. But we'll see how Fear decides to play it, but we are going to see a Fear Nyx, or Lifestealer, as he's called in this game. Meanwhile, how Dare decide to play this? Will they pick up another tanky hero? There's a lot of damage pumping out through the EG squad. They can't just pick up a Ghost Scepter against an Nyx, because there's the Queen of Pain damage, there's the Panda damage, there's the Shadow Demon damage. So will they pick up an innately tanky hero? Will they pick up a very mobile hero That remains to be seen, but do not count out Artstyle and his unconventional picks. So the last pick is really going to settle down. Will they pick up a hero that needs a lot of experience, or will they pick up another support? They have Wisp and Leshrac to give them all the support they pretty much need. So I expect them to go for more of a semi-carry build and just try to hold out until the late stages of the game and then just take the game from there. So just wait on this last pick. Of course, the defense, this is the last group stage match, and I already just told you the results of this of the EG Dara group. Mouse is in first place, and EG and Dara currently tied for second. But either way, both teams will be making it into the brackets for the playoffs, one way or another, regardless of the outcome of the match. It just depends on the seeding, and this match really just depends on seeding. And of course, it's getting dangerously close to the National. Both teams are scouting out for the National, and they want to be taking training with as much power as possible. And of course, I think Dare are at a LAN at the moment, as you see a Weaver being picked up, so they're going with a hero who builds very tanky and who's ridiculously mobile, but doesn't really pump out too much damage. But hey, they have a lot of damage in the form of the Lone Druid and the Lesh, along with the Invoker. And of course, Wisp, hey, he can buff the Weaver up as well, even though Weaver, of course, will break the tether a ridiculous amount just because of his Shikuchi running around at max move speed like he's always on crack. That bug just fiending for something special. So, oh, I forgot to turn off free camera. Well, I can do that right now. But I think Dara is currently lining it up because this is Wednesday and the Starlighted LAN Tournament finals start tomorrow, I think, Thursday through Saturday. So keep your eyes out for that tournament. Dara, M5, Navi, Team Empire, and I forget the other teams, my bad. But very, very strong Central European teams are invited. EG turned out the invite along with MTW, but still it should be making for a very aggressive finals. I'm wondering to see if M5 can take some of the criticism that's levied against them since their poor performance since the last Starlighted LAN tournament, and maybe they'll give Navi a run for their money, but it still can't count out Derek. But right now let's just introduce the players on the teams. We have Demon playing the Queen of Pain. We have Fear playing the Lifestealer, Milk playing the Chen, Universe playing the Shadow Demon, and Bulba playing that Soul Mid Brewmaster. Meanwhile, we have M playing the Lone Druid, G playing the Invoker, Goblin playing the Leshrac, Artstyle playing the Weaver, and Feed, or Phonic, playing that Wisp. So right now we're going to have Lone Druid soloing the lane up against probably a Lifestealer Shadow Demon combination with Milk offensive jungling. So right now we'll see if the Dare squad decides to lay a magic bushword to block off potential Chen jungling, but Chen is just going to circumvent that altogether. But Lone Druid's going to have a miserable time in this lane just through the passive harassment and the fact that Nyx can just get up in your face and do a lot of damage with the open wounds and the feast. Should have come to that, so Lone Druid will not be having the best time at all. And Chen, he can't jungle because Chen will just be in his jungle taking all his creep. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Invoker versus Panda. Panda will have the survivability, and once he picks up a bottle, he should be okay in lane. But I expect God to farm relatively easily. But right now, God is staying very, very far back. Picked up Exhort, so he's not going to be very mobile in the mid stages of the game. But May just picked up Exhort for the last hitting. Meanwhile, Demon versus Artstyle. Demon should have a relatively easy time with the additional range and the fact that his nukes, of course, can drain Weaver's HP so very, very easily. But it's going to be pretty difficult to kill Artstyle, even though the Scream of Pain does hit invisible units. But still, it's going to be pretty difficult to kill Artstyle, and Demon, of course, should be carrying a TP scroll just to go for counter ganks wherever he wants. But right now, the lane to be focusing on is a top lane now that Wisp and Goblin are roaming to help out their brother M in the top lane, because he's just going to have a ridiculously difficult time up against Fear and Universe. So we'll see how God and Panda decide to play this. Will they get a lot of teleport scrolls and go for counter ganking early on? Because I expect the teams to be pretty aggressive. Dara, of course, can sit back. They have better late game in the form of Weaver and Lone Druid, but EG is going to have to be aggressive. They do not want to drag this out to late game. Lifestealer fares pretty well against the Bear, just in general, just because he can take a lot of its life. But Weaver is an entirely different target. Weaver's just going to be running circles around the Lifestealer, and it's a pretty good counter pick in this case. Of course, the main problem with Weaver, and some of the reasons why we don't see him in Dota 2 is see Demon just getting complete rest, is going to have to pop his cell. You know, Artstyle is doing a nice job controlling lane, has an early Ring of Basilius, is going to pick up that Ring of Aquila relatively soon as well. But yeah, one of the reasons why we don't see Weaver is just because he requires so much of everything. He's just like, he's just like a needy girlfriend, just constantly taking and taking and taking everything away from your team. He needs items to tank, he needs items for damage, he needs items to survive. He needs like a spell block, otherwise he'll just get chain stun. He needs either a Linken's as a Sunstrike, and the Weaver Shikuchi managed to pick up the first blood. Demon is the first one to fall. Nicely timed Sunstrike by God, showing the coordination there on land cannot be underestimated. Meanwhile, I don't think EG's on land. I think Melk is just up in Europe, and meanwhile his American compadres are just chilling it up all across the US. But Weaver just requires so much of everything. It needs survivability, then needs damage, and then just needs some sort of spell block. Otherwise, he'll just get hexed and owned in the late game. So oftentimes we see a Weaver pick up a Linken Sphere first, and then transition to his damage items. But that's usually the Southeast Asian build. I wouldn't be surprised to see if we see a more standard European build, which is just to go for the early Vanguard and then build into the range just so it can provide a little bit more damage early on. Or maybe we're going to see Artstyle playing a bit more aggressively and gank a bit harder with the Weaver. Artstyle was known for his aggressiveness in Dota 1, but of course this is a completely different game. Dare has not had the greatest amount of success, but still they're definitely a team that cannot be underestimated. And right now, Razor Artstyle is just controlling this lane magnificently against Demon. Has the same number of last hits, so Demon's been farming it up with the Scream Pain, but unfortunately he's constantly being pressured back, is forced to buy another salve, so Demon's not having a good time. Meanwhile, Bulba is using his clap to farm, has a regen rune in his bottle, he pops it right now. So he'll be able to get some more claps very soon, but right now God looks like he's controlling the lane reasonably well. Similar CS on both sides, but God, of course, as long as he stays out of clap range, he should just be A-okay. He picked up the boots and Mantle of Intelligence as he just dances out of clap range. Meanwhile, I see Melk just chilling, just walking in and saying, "What's up, guys?" Not sure about that gank. He didn't have a creep or anything, but I guess he didn't want to be stuck in the jungle against the Wisp Leshrac combination, so he's going to migrate to the bottom lane. And meanwhile, we see the Weaver controlling the creeps. Looks like the Magic Fish Ward was not counter-warded, or warded in general, just because it's easy counter, and Chen was in the offensive triad, but now Chen is migrating back to the defensive, help out his buddy Demon, and just to get a lot of levels without fear of ganks by the Wisp or the Leshrac. Meanwhile, Fear is going to be what EG's hopes come down to along with the Bulba. Fear is farming very well, 20-4 at the moment. Meanwhile, Lone Druid is only 16-2. So farms are relatively even across the board, but right now that first blood's just giving Dare a decent amount of gold, and Queen of Pain, of course. Once she gets hurt down early game, she doesn't have nearly the impact that she will have in the mid to late stage game, and I'm sure if you watch any of my Dota 1 casts, you've just seen the massive amount of Queen of Pain plays by the Southeast Asians, and we saw, even though Queen of Pain can be reasonably effective when she gets harassed early game, if she gets kept down, she becomes pretty much useless. And when I say kept down, I just mean constant pressure being applied to her, and when you do that, she's just completely and utterly useless, as the Sunstrike is going to be dodged by Bulba as he pops the Acer. Will he go on the offensive for a clap? It looks like G is just constantly dancing in and around, in and out of the clap range. I was about to say dancing in and out of Bulba, which just sounded oh so wrong, as it looks like Bulba might be in a lot of trouble, or Bulba cops the Primal Split. God is in a lot of trouble, and he's going to die to the Primal Split of E.G. Bulba, the Hex, or the Clap, the Hasten, and then popping the Primal Split. Nice mana management by the Brewmaster Bulba. So that's going to give E.G. a little bit more security. Already picking up a kill on God the Invoker. Meanwhile, Bulba hits level 7 very, very quickly, and he has a bottle, so he's going to be able to provide some damage, pick up another rune when possible, and then it'll just be easy going from there. Meanwhile, Artstyle is being harassed quite heavily by Demon. Now that he's been able to stay himself in the lane, has picked up a bottle himself. Are we going to see double crow action? We do not see double crow action. Meanwhile, Artstyle has full mana, so we go on the offensive for Demon. Here comes another Sunstrike. It's going to get dodged. Nicely done by Demon, predicting that God wants Fury, wants revenge. But meanwhile, Fear's getting ganked in the woods, going to get Wisped as well as bared. Meanwhile, Panda comes in, is going to try to go on the offensive, going to be able to kill Goblin. Wisp tethers to Goblin, try to save him at the last moment. But Fear dies in exchange for Goblin Leshrac, a trade that Dare will take any day of the week. And now Bulba, now that he's out of mana and does not have the Panda ultimate up for another 110 seconds, he's not going to be too useful. Meanwhile, it looks like Dare is going to stick around. They have the tether, but unfortunately Wisp is caught in the middle of nowhere, has no mana for tether, so he's surely going to get caught and out of nowhere. Is just going to get completely on. Not really too sure what Funnique was doing. Just barely able to cast the tether, but he died in that exchange. Meanwhile, nice Chen micro by Melk, constantly harassing M. M is forced to resummon his bear. Did not want to have to use his Goron, but still did not want to use a bunch of HP and retreat all the way back to Fountain. but he's picked up an Orb of Venom on his bear to get that stare chasing, and then he'll probably go for Phase Boots on his hero, or go for them on his bear for damage, and then go straight Relic, which is what the very, very common bear build to do is. It's a very common bear build these days, we'll just put it like that. Trying to put it a bit more eloquently. Meanwhile, Brewmaster has picked up the Phase Boots. He's farming very, very well. 3-2 in favor of EG, but Demon did die once on the bottom lane, and keep in mind, Fear died on the top lane. So the two of the strongest heroes that transition onto the late game are getting harassed quite heavily, so I think Dare is in okay shape, and EG hasn't really sniffed any sort of the towers of the Dare side. And if Dare just keep playing this slow and steady, it's almost 8 minutes in, and the towers have barely been touched. Barely any damage on these top and bottom towers. Middle tower might be in a little bit of danger. No, it has more HP than the top towers, so still. EG is going to have to decide on game plan. Will they wait for a level 11 on their Panda? Just keep farming up. Level 11 Panda Ultimate is one of the most game-breaking spells in the game at that point in time. Looks like Fear is going to go on the offensive. He'll find a Wild, Funnick, and Goblin in the jungle, but still, Wisp is going to ward it up. And Dare's completely fine with this. They're just going to say, okay, we'll pick up our ultimate level 6, going to tank up as much as possible. Try to kill us, guys. Try to kill us. I dare you. I double dare you. And that's Samuel L. Jackson, who is Marcellus Wallace, motherfuckers. Meanwhile, Goblin is just going to provide pressure. It hits level 5 despite being very supportive in his slow track. Going to be able to pick up experience. Meanwhile, Funnick is level 4, has a couple points in Tether and a couple points into the Orb. Meanwhile, let's see how Demon is doing. Has 40 CS, has picked up a double damage rune as well as the Sonic Wave as well as the Scream Pain, but art style is 43 and 8, and he's starting to tank up. He's picked up the Ring of Health, so it's very, very ambiguous whether he'll go for a Lincoln Sphere or if he'll just go for Vanguard. Or even a Hood of Defiance wouldn't be too bad, because he can just escape the Nyx whenever possible just by popping Shikuchi or Time Lapse. He's going to worry about the burst damage in terms of killing him. Unless Nyx, of course, picks up a Basher, then, of course, Hood of Defiance would not help you there. But still, Arcel keeping his build very ambiguous, has the Quill, has the Belt of Strength, and he's going to finish his Strength Treads pretty soon. Meanwhile, Melk is going to try to get his farm jacked by a Goblin. Not trying to get that, but that's just what happens sometimes when you have a roaming Leshrac. Will Melk try to get a little bit of pressure? He does have a Troll Warlord, and so keep in mind it will be revealing art style should he come out of the woodwork. And there is no dust and no ward, so art style might be caught out in the middle of nowhere. Will he be able to catch Shikuchi? No, he'd just be barely able to escape. And now art style, since his days, sees a Troll Warlord. And keep in mind when Troll Warlord casts in that, you will be revealed. Of course, unless art style just casts his time lapse and trolls Melk for a bit. But still, you never want to use that time lapse unless you really have to. Meanwhile, Goblin's going to try to get a bit more experience on the bottom lane. I like what Dare is doing, just getting a lot of experience on their support. EG2 is doing the same, but they're sacrificing some farm on Fear. 41 and 9. Has a very early hand in Maya, so he's going to be able to scale towards the late game. This build is pretty good considering they haven't been able to get too much damage on the towers. They've cast open wounds on M, the bear. Here comes the Panda ultimate as well, going to die in a blink of an eye. Meanwhile, Panda's going to chase for Funnick. Feed is going to be falling, gets the Cyclone, and now he's just caught. Is he going to try to run away? Tether is cooling down very, very rapidly. One more hit, and looks like Fear managed to pick up the last hit. Nicely done by EG, killing the bear and killing the Wisp as well. Meanwhile, Hand of God is casted just to give everybody a reserve amount of heal as a Demon died on the bottom lane with the gank of Goblin and Artstyle. Artstyle picks up another kill, so still a trade that they're not happy with it, but I mean they'll take it. They're getting Artstyle farm. They have a couple carries on their side, and they have God Invoker not dying either. He did die to that Panda, and meanwhile EG's getting a lot of heroes up on this side of the map. Is converted. It's constantly having a lot of heroes on near the towers, pressuring the tower, but they're not getting a lot of experience, and levels is what is the name of the game in this case. Will EG go on the offensive to get some more kills? Panda, of course, has the phase boots. Will probably be setting up for a Blink Dagger very, very soon. If not, the Drums of Endurance give him a larger mana pool. For right now, Bulba is going to try to hit level 11 so he can get that level 11 ultimate off for the next team fight. It reduces cooldown and just provides so much damage. He's been able to get a lot of kills every time the ultimate's off cooldown. So nicely done by Bulba in that situation. But right now, they're looking okay. Bear's been harassed quite heavily recently. It's 5-3 in favor of EG, and Bear is not farming as well as he would have liked to be doing. Right now that the Lifestealer and the ganking lineup of EG starting to get their steam train rolling. Meanwhile, God is going to build a very early 4-step, just give him survivability. Wisp is going to tether in, just to give his teammates some backup as the EG migrates towards the mid lane. So what will EG decide to do? Looks like Robe and Magi is picked up. Panda is going to go for the drums and nerds. I like this choice, give him some overall more mana to work with, give his team nice aura, and keep in mind when he splits the aura, we'll just keep it with the pandas. So that's a very, very strong item. It looks like Bulb is going to be allowed to roll. Cold Snap with the Goblin Splitter is going to be cast. Bulb is going to be allowed to roll. Here comes a Sunstrike, and Panda is going to have to drink a brew in the fountain while he respawns. So nice ganking by the Dara squad, helping out God, their mid lane buddy, a bit more. Meanwhile, Demon's just going to run back and forth with that haste rune. Get some harassment on God. He's going to try to regen up with that Quas skill. Such a useful regen tool. So Quas Exort is the build, going to give him the Sunstrike as well as the Forge Spirit to just give him some more anti-push and give him a lot of mid-game DPS, along with pretty survivable summons in the mid-late game, So pretty strong build. Looks like there they just want to tank up as much as possible. Check out Artstyle's M. He went for the Vanguard rather than any sort of Liquid Sphere. So Vanguard, I expect him to start going for some damage now that they have a bear on their team, so he won't need to pick up a relic. So will we see a Manta Style by Artstyle? It's definitely a possibility. Never, but keep in mind I've seen Artstyle do much crazier builds. So we shall see very soon. Weaver does not have too much gold in the bank. Meanwhile, Bear is just going to take this time to farm up. Going to keep himself back very, very far to get some ganks off whenever possible. But the EG side is pushing in. Open Wounds combined with the Bulbic Thunderclap managed to kill Invoker. So God not having the best game in the world. Unfortunate for God. And Invoker not hitting level 12 until around 17 minutes in the game is going to be pretty tough for Adair to overcome, considering they're investing so much farm and experience into that Invoker. If he doesn't get a very early level 12 to get a lot of usefulness out of that Invoke spell, he won't be too powerful into mid stage of the game. But still, Invoker, of course, a hero that scales very well in all stages of the game. Artstyle is going to teleport in. Here comes the Hand of God. Will they get the deny off? Lifestealer managed to get the last hit, but Artstyle is going to go on the offensive for Universe. He might be in a lot of trouble. Will he cast a time lapse? He's going to have to cast a time lapse. Clap is casted, and Universe is going to be sent back. And just barely in the nick of time, Artstyle was able to escape with the talents. And now he's going to just run the heck back. But still, no ultimates were dropped by the EG squad except for Hand of God. And meanwhile, Bear is going to get harassed. He has 2,400 gold in the bank, going to be able to pick up the Sacred Relic pretty soon. Meanwhile, Fear picked up the Armlet, so he's A-OK in terms of mid-game teamfight, in terms of getting some more survivability, and just pumping out ridiculous amounts of damage. So EG, they're looking a bit stronger, but still they have to be a little bit worried about how much farm that the Silver and the Artstyle getting. Dust of Appearance is casted even though time lapse is on cooldown. Will Baba be able to chase? It looks like they're going to give up the chase just as Artstyle reveals himself. Artstyle was dusted, but still, Shikuchi too broken of a spell, but Weaver does need all the help he can get. Fear with the Armlet is going to be pretty difficult to get to be brought down, but he's only level 9. And will we see a clever combination of Panda blinking with the infested Nyx in him, or anything like that, or Demon blinking in? A lot of different avenues for initiation for Fear to get up close and personal, and you never want it to be up close and personal against a Nyx. You know, Goblin and Feet are just trying to farm it up. This Wisp pick is not really panning out very effectively for the Dare squad, so maybe they're just going to try to build him very tanky. Utilize that overcharge just for the late stages of the game, because right now they're not ganking too effectively with the Wisp relocate. Looks like they're going to tether up. Are they going to cast relocate? We will see as just some passive healing. Come on, Wisp, relocate, man. Looks like there's going to be a gank. God took the fall on the bottom lane as Wisp activates an invisibility rune. I'm not really too sure what God was doing, trying to suicide for that bottom tower. Did he manage to pick? Yes, he did. So I guess it was worth it considering God wasn't having the best game in the world at that stage. So still trading Invoker for a tier 1 tower, just giving your team more map control and just giving your team a lot of gold. Get that relic as soon as possible, and Bear's going to be pretty happy with that exchange. Who is the Brave Soul teleporting in as Goblin picks up a tower? It is the Panda, as the Tether is going to be able to give mobility to the Dare squad, but looks like Panda's just going to easily kill the poor innocent Wisp. And now Fear is going to go on the offensive. Will they kill Goblin? There's no tower to prevent the EG squad from advancing dangerously into the Dare's territory. But meanwhile, Weir is just going to constantly be pressuring that middle tower. And likewise, like the Invoker, Melk isn't providing too much of impact. He's been able to get a couple pushes, but only 2 towers, 17 minutes in the game. Not really the best way you can, not really the best thing that you want your Chen to be doing at this stage in the game. Bulba has finished the drums. Will he go for a Blink Dagger? Will he decide to get tanky in order to combat the Lone Druid and the Weaver that's getting pretty close to becoming very, very powerful? Bear is going to be able to pick up his relic, going to save his money up, or sending his bear back to pick up that relic. Yep, sending the bear back, indeed. Meanwhile, Weaver is farming. He has not died in this game. He has 2,000 gold in the bank. Will he go for more defensive, or will he go for an aggressive offensive item? I think going defensive with Weaver wouldn't be the worst idea in this case, but he's already the Vanguard. That might be all he needs. Nyx is going to be providing a lot of damage, so as long as he can escape the Queen of Pain and the Panda, he should be a-okay, but still, the problem is escaping a Panda, which is never really a good option in any stage of the game. The best way to escape Panda is just not let the other team pick it. But we'll see what Dare's game plan is. Meanwhile, it looks like there's a lot of migration. Dare M is going to be in a lot of trouble. He did die. Did he buy the relic? Yes, he bought the relic, so that's okay for M. But still, you do not want to be dead for another 40 seconds. Hand of God is casted as there's going to be a huge dive for Milk. Can they pick off Milk? Yes, they do. Artstyle managed to get the kill. No, Goblin picks up the kill. Meanwhile, Fear is going to teleport it in, and the Ryuko OK is just casted for a little bit of damage. Meanwhile, Fear is going to run in, but they're just saying, alright, Fear, you can run in, but what you going to do about it? As Demon's going to try to fight it out. Will he get cold snap? He does get cold snap. He's trying to blink away desperately. The lava spawn's doing a lot of damage. Disruption is casted on Goblin. He's going to be the next one to fall. Fear is just pumping out too much damage at this stage in the game. Looks like Artstyle, with the help of the Swarm and the Gemini attack, managed to kill the Demon, Queen of Pain. Bulba is going to blink in, but right now he doesn't have enough mana for the ultimate, so Bulba's going to have to back out. He's going to have to regain some of his mana. They're going to hope for a rune, but no rune. It is the 19-minute mark, so he's going to have to either get back to base or Battle Crow it for a bit more regen. But Bulba does have that level 11 ultimate. It'll do a huge amount of damage, 10-6 in favor of EG. But Dare just taking all the fights on EG's side of the map. Dare, they seem to have a pretty solid game plan, but Bear has been dying. But as long as Artstyle is getting some farm, I think even Artstyle can out DPS and nice. He went for a Demon Edge, so gonna go straight MKB. Gonna give him a lot of damage in that regard, and it's gonna be pretty difficult for EG to deal with. EG very mobile, but Weaver the most mobile carry in the game, along with Morphling. So let's see how EG decides to react to this. Will they decide to blink in, focus a lot of attention on Artstyle, or will they try to get a lot of attention on the Bear? But right now Artstyle picks up an easy tower, and he's just going to harass Bulba. Will he be able to kill Bulba? They might go on the offensive. Bulba does not have enough mana for the Thunderclap, and Juan is on cooldown. Looks like Bulba is going to be sent back home in the nick of time. Nice play by Malk, recognizing Bulba's distress. But yeah, Artstyle is just like, okay, I got a tower, I got a Wisp. Just going to farm your creeps, bro. What you going to do about it? Meanwhile, Wisp is going to say, oh, I'm going to die about it. As the Shadow Strike damage, along with the Sonic Wave, managed to easily clean up, but looks like Artstyle just doesn't care about his Wisp. Is dominating at the moment. Looks like the Dust Appearance is casted, gonna hold Wisp, the Weaver in place. They're gonna be able to pick off Artstyle. No, nice time lapse, gonna be able to escape and to spell the Dust. So Weaver just being very, very difficult for EG to deal with. Gonna be able to pick up the Javelin. Pretty close to his MKB, only about 1,400 gold away from finishing that. You know, Bear hasn't died in a bit. We'll check out his gold really fast. 200 gold away from finishing his Sacred Relic, from finishing his Radiance rather. And with that, they're looking okay, 11-7 in favor of the Dare squad. The only thing that's not going for them is the Wisp ganks, and the fact that Invoker's not doing well. But even when I say Invoker's not doing too well, he has a 4-step and Ultimate Orb. And that's just the power of Invoker. Even when he's not doing too well, you just give him so much farm, and he can pick up some kills with Sunstrike, then he'll just be A-okay in the mid-game. Checking out the gold graph, it is so very even. 1k gold or 750 gold lead in favor of Dare, and the towers are looks like the tower count is completely even. So all these kills, you can just see that the 4 kills should be giving EG a heftier gold lead, but it's Dare just out farming the EG squad. We'll check out the farm levels very, very quick. You can see 3 heroes above 100 CS, only 2 heroes on EG above 100 CS. So Dare is just completely out farming EG, which is why they have that such a minor gold advantage, but still a gold advantage nonetheless. Meanwhile, G clearly suspects something. Will Bulba go in the offensive? Nice is inside Bulba, infests out, and now G's gonna be in a lot of trouble. Tries to force Steph away. Is there Dust of Appearance? No Dust of Appearance. Why can't get an Invoker then? Oh no, that's gonna be very unfortunate for EG, wasting a lot of time, a lot of Fear's time where he could be using to get items. A lot of Bulba's time where he could use to farm the Blink Dagger, 200 gold from finishing that Blink Dagger. So I expect when Bulba picks up that Blink Dagger, EG's gonna go offensive and try to get a couple kills. Meanwhile, Wisp is gonna try to get ganked. Nope, he's just going to pop the spirits. Panda's just going to run away. He does not want to dive too aggressively just when he's so close to picking up that blink dagger. But maybe he's going to sell an item. Instead, he sells his stout shield just to get even closer. He's like, okay, I'm not going to farm, and I think there might be some shit happening. As EG saw the Dare squad migrate to that Rosh pit, going to use the Shadow Poison to scout out that Roshan. How EG decided to approach this, I don't think Brewmaster has the dagger. No, still away from that dagger, so they do not have a reliable farm initiation aside from Demon blinking in. But still, Dare's going to back out nonetheless. Bulba's just going to walk in, pop the ultimate, going to pick up the Aegis, but looks like he's going to lose it immediately. And keep in mind, he respawns without the true form, so Bear is going to die. Meanwhile, Goblin, very, very low HP. Invoker picks off Queen of Pain in the midst of all that, as M is going to just desperately try to get back into his Lone Druid ultimate, but Max is just staying and say, hey, what's up, guys? Meanwhile, Universe is going to disrupt himself. Nicely done by Universe. Well, M managed to die once again. Arsenal is going to try to clean up the rest of the fight for the Dare squad, but it looks like Fear is just pumping out way too much damage. Invoker, meter not doing too much. Wisp is just giving his team so much mobility. God picks up a triple kill on the back of his Force Spears, but Lifestealer managed to pick up a kill on Goblin as Artstyle is going to try to run away from Fear. Will he be able to escape one more hit? Yes! They managed to kill Fear and end his triple kill streak. So Dare, they lost the Aegis and they lost the Lone Druid, but still they took that team fight and they won it very, very convincingly, 4-3 if you count the Aegis of the Immortal. So nicely done by Dare, and now they're just going to be farming up, and now EG, they're starting to get in a little bit more trouble. They do not have too much of a counter against this Weaver who has an MKB finish, and it's going to be very, very tricky to deal with. He just picked it up, he did not have it in that team fight, but now that he does have it, they're going to have to feel Weaver even more. He's getting pretty tanky, level 16 this early on. Check out the gold graph. I expect to be swinging. Yep, it's starting to. The swing is starting to become even more drastic in favor of the Dare squad. So Dare, with that land environment, it's going to be too much for EG to overcome, but still, do not count EG out. Their initiation and the ganking, once Panda picks up that Blink Dagger, you cannot underestimate them. So we'll see how this game decides to shape up very, very soon. Staff of Wizardry being picked up by the Shadow Demon, gonna go for a 4-staff. Meanwhile, Melk has not had the impact that they'd like to have when you pick up a Chen, and this is a risky play with Chen, even though he's banned very, very frequently, even though he has one of the highest win percentages all of Dota 2, as you see a Wisp and Goblin gank coming out of nowhere. Melk just had no time to react. Lifestealer pops the open wounds. Will you have to kill Goblin? No, relocate is going to expire before they get the kill. Feed is going to be a bit of trouble, and he's going to be able to escape just fine. Meanwhile, God managed to pick up a kill on the back of Sunstreak as Universe took the fall. 2 for 1 in that exchange, only losing Leshak for the 2 supports of VG squad. A trade that Dare will take any day of the week. Meanwhile, Artstyle is going to get initiated on by Bulba. Thunderclap, will he drop the Drunken Hate? Artstyle is just going to have to motor out of there. 1100 gold in the bank. Will he go for more tank or will he go for additional damage? It might be time to go for a bit more tank, get a VIP booster, and then go for Heart, just so he can survive every single team fight. Because now that they know Artstyle has that MKB, they're going to be focusing a lot of their attention on him. And actually, BKB might be a smarter item for Artstyle, because there's not any ultimates that goes through BKB on the side of EG except for the Demonic Purge. And you have Shakushi to counteract that. Meanwhile, Demon has just been dying left and right in all of these engagements. Has 1400 gold in the bank, but still reasonably far away from finishing his Hex. But once Demon picks up a Hex, if they have a lot of initiation on their side, they have the Panda Blink Dagger, they have Demon blinking in with the Hex, they have Fear infesting to the Panda and just getting an easy access to a lot of damage very early on in the team. We'll check out what Fear has. He went for a Desolator along with the Armor. Gonna give him a lot of damage, but it's not. This is just a solo rare counter to rip through some of the true form damage and the HP, and going to be more easily able to kill the bear and the hero very, very easily. But still, it won't be too useful against the Weaver. But right now, I think they're going to rely on Panda and Demon to kill the Weaver, and Fear to just take care of the bear by himself. Meanwhile, checking out Feed's items, he has Tranquility Boots along with an Urd of Shadows. Going to try to get as tanky as possible. Still no points in Overcharge, only level 9. So, hasn't been able to pick up any points in Overcharge. And this is what I say about Wisp. He doesn't scale very well into the late game if he doesn't get very many items, but we'll see if his luck begins to turn in these next engagements. Artstyle has picked up an item very soon. What did he pick up? Oh, he picked up the Ultimate Orb, so probably going to go for Mantis Style, but still, that might be for a Lincoln Sphere. I don't know if he needs a lot of mana. He has already 780 mana, and he has the treads where you can switch around. Weaver doesn't require too much mana. Swarm, of course, has a pretty long cooldown. Shikuchi doesn't use up too much mana. And Time Lapse, of course, is free in the later stages of the game. So I think this Ultimate Orb will be for a Manta style. And if he does get Manta style, it'll be very, very difficult to deal with. So we're going to see a huge gank coming in for Bulba. Does Bulba sense anything? Here comes the 4-step in the Hex. God picks up a Hex, and now Bulba's in just in for a world of hurt. Hand of God used for Bulba, but they did not know 4 heroes from the Darius side were coming in. So that Hand of God is going to be wasted for a bit. So Bulba is out of the next team fight, and as is the Hand of God ultimate. No, Bulba has buyback if they want to defend this tower, but this tower very low HP, so they're going to lose it regardless. Meanwhile, Bear all the while just going to completely farm up this bottom lane. 1900 gold in the bank with Tranquility Boots as well. Going to give him some armor as well as a bit of healing and of course reasonable move speed. But we'll see how EG decides to defend this. Dare seems to have this game under control, but still, Dare is a team that's known to make mistakes recently. See what the initiation, they get a Hex off on Universe. Looks like Artstyle is going to go on the offensive. The Holy Persuasion is going to be cast on Universe, saving his life for now. You know, Artstyle is going to get Sonic Waved, going to be hit quite heavily, but Fear is in a lot of trouble. What happened? He's going to infest a Lava Spawn. Will he be able to break out? The Rage and the Diabolic Eek and the Pulse Nova just doing ridiculous amount of damage, cleaning up Fear, and Dare just looking tip-top shape. Meanwhile, keep in mind, M all the while pushing that bottom lane, picked up an easy tower. 3k gold in the bank. Dare just looking in complete control of this game, and that's the power of a land environment. And keep in mind, EG, they've been looking very, very sharp recently, taking the Itsukosu monthly mass in a 3-0 sweep of Complexity, who is no slouch. They were performing reasonably well, so Complexity being swept 3-0 just attests to the skill of EG, as looks like Demon just walks in, gets Meteored Hex. Demon is just not having a good time. Was he trying to pick up the Hex? No, he already has it, so... But still, Demon out of action for the next 50 seconds is going to be pretty difficult for EG to overcome. I don't think the Roshan will be respawning. It's going to be respawning in the next 4 minutes. So they're just going to keep split pushing up, control the maps, get this middle tier 2 tower, and then wait for the next Roshan before they go for their push. But still, this Weaver pick just proving to be pretty brilliant by Goblin or Artstyle if he was doing some backseat captaining. But Dare, with the land environment, you can see how much a difference a land environment makes. This is why teams like M5 are completely feared. Teams like Dare just become so much more powerful, beating up a team like EG, who's looked so very strong recently. And this will just make for a very exciting international team when everybody has land environment. So, I hope you're all looking forward to that just in a couple of months. Actually, just in a month and a half, so be on the lookout for that. Every team will bring their A games, but still the defense is going to be finishing up before that. Meanwhile, Fear is going to get gagged. He pops the Hex. Meteor going to come down. Not going to doing too much damage to Fear. Pops the Armor and Hand of God, but still Invoker doing it way too much damage. God, after the initial rocky start, has just been solo ganking up with the Hex and the Fire Spirit. Level 19 now, picked up his levels very, very nicely. And now he's taking revenge for his bit of a slow start. But now, God showing why he's one of the most feared players in the European scene. And why you should look out for him. He's saying, Dendi who, bitch, I'm God. Meanwhile, Dare is menacing towards that middle tier 2 tower without the help of Fear, and Panda Ultimate is not going to be too strong by itself. Vladimir is being picked up by the Panda, giving them more armor. Aura, as the Demon's going to blink in. Looks like Panda gets hacked, but God's going to be a bit of trouble. Pops the Ghost Walk. Sentry Ward is being dropped by Universe, nicely done by Universe, as God's going to take the fall with Soul Catcher and a couple of right clicks, but God immediately buys back. Meanwhile, Goblin tries to run in, but Panda pops his ultimate. A bit of a mistake by Dare. Will this be a mistake that changes the tide in favor of EG? Looks like Goblin took the fall. Meanwhile, Wisp is going to get Cyclone up in the air, but here comes the Bear. He's going to go for Milk. Meanwhile, Demon's just completely cutting around the rest of the team. Feed is going to be the next one to die. 3 kills in favor of EG. Triple kill being picked up by Demon. Meanwhile, Invoker managed to kill Milk after buying back with the help of the Sunstrike. But right now he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Fear is just going to be pushed away, and now God's got to run for his life once again, but the engagement is not over. Demon is in a lot of trouble. Has enough mana for a blink and a Shadow Strike if he wants it. He's going to blink and Scream Pain, going to pick up a kill on Lone Druid. Demon cleaning up the Dare squad. Meanwhile, Artstyle taking a lot of damage. He does have the time. He's just going to switch Shikuchi out, but there was a Sentry, and he was forced to use time lapse. Nice game recognition by Artstyle, and now Fear is going to be in a lot of trouble. One more Hex. It looks like Panda's coming back in. Can they kill Universe with the Hex and the attacks? better universe than the Fear. Meanwhile, Fear's gonna go on the offensive. Looks like Artstyle just took the fight. Demon picked up 5 kills in that engagement, and now he's just gonna be cackling to himself as another kill going towards Demon. Dare, what were you doing? That team fight was what EG wanted. They thrive in chaotic, messy team fights because they have the heroes that are suited for it. They have Demon blinking around, they have Panda just being able to survive, and that might be the tide turner in favor of EG, but still, we'll check out the gold in a bit when it has enough time to update. Dare have a lot of towers. They have 3 more towers than EG, so we'll see if they decide to play it more slow and close to the bone rather than just going all autograph. So looks like EG should not be satisfied with the fight. They are not. They're going to smoke up, try to get a gank up, but I do not think that Dare will be caught out of position. Will they go for a blind gank? Is there any sentry to spot out the EG squad? I do not see any. Invisibility rune being left. Nope, being bottled by the Queen of Pain. Looks like EG might be going for Rosh, but the Courier going to be spotting out, and now Fear is just going to have to back off. The creeps are going to be sacrificed. Poor innocent creeps. Never really stood a chance as Demon blinks in the middle of everybody, going to get a Hex off on feed. Sonic Wave being popped. Goblin's going to die as well. Demon just turning around this game completely in favor of EG, and now they have enough momentum to go on that middle tier 2 tower. The Panda ultimate is cooling down in 15 seconds, but will EG decide to go for Roshan instead? Wisp constantly sending the spirits out just to harass. Those spirits do hurt, those giant blue balls. They are stuffed with Wisp juices, just pumping out a lot of damage. Still, we'll see if EG decides to go in nonetheless.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Artstyle, what item did he pick up? He has the Manta Style. Meanwhile, Bear is going to be sent in, going to do a lot of harassment to Universe as well as Demon. Demon not very tanky, but Demon blinks, he gets a 3-man screen pain, but that might have been a bait. Dare gets hexed. Dare M gets hexed as Artstyle pops the time lapse very early on in the fight. So we'll see what the Dare squad decide to do. Looks like Wisp is going to relocate and heal up before he gets back in the middle of the fight. Meanwhile, Invoker and Weaver pick up 2 easy kills. Fear and Milk died, and now Demon is going to have to rein himself in and teleport back to the fountain to heal up. But he was on such a huge momentum, and now we'll check out the gold graph. You saw that after that huge team fight, it was jumped back up by 2.5k, but still Dare has a hefty gold lead because of all their towers and their out farming of EG, and now they're going to pick off the Roshan as well. It's going to be pretty difficult for EG to kill this Bear unless Fear just gets completely uninterrupted in all his auto attacks. And Fear, he has a Deso, Midas, Hyperstone going to go for AC, give him a bit more tankability, but right now BKB might be a good choice. Actually, scratch that. Armor is going to be a better choice just to survive a lot of the Dare auto attacks of the Bear and the Weaver. So, yep. Fear, I shouldn't be questioning people who are obviously better than me. Armor going to be able, but much more beneficial. Maybe in a Ghost Scepter. Nah, Nyx just wants to be constantly attacking and constantly be stealing life. So, AC is the smartest choice in this situation. Maybe in a Blade Mill. Now AC is the smartest choice. It's going to increase his DPS by a lot as well, and once he picks up the AC, he's going to be a minus 11 armor to whatever he hits, if he should hit anybody. Will Dare keep cutting around the night? It will be up to Demon and Panda to do a lot of the damage, or will Fear be able to go to town on the Dare squad? He's going to steal a lot of life. Just checking out the overall items in the game. Ghost Scepter being picked up by Feed, going to negate a lot of the Nyx damage, but still... Demon damage is going to get completely amplified. Demon hasn't picked up any items since his 6 kills on that one bottom lane team fight. Hasn't picked up any items. Maybe saving for buyback, or maybe he's just saving up for a huge item. Bulba has the Vlads and the Blink Dagger. A lot of Auras for Fear to work with in terms of mobility, in terms of stealing more life. Universe has the Urn of Shadows along with the Staff of Wizardry. Still unable to finish that 4-staff. Meanwhile, Melk has a Mechanism and Arcane Boots, but that's it. Melk hasn't become too big of a factor, but this is a problem with Chen. When it doesn't get off to a good start. Malk has been playing fine, but still, Dare knows how to work around Chen. They often train with Chen, one of the best Chens in the form of Artstyle. So it looks like Dare just have Chen's number. I'm going to check the stats of this game to see the win percentage of Dare and Navi against Chen. Goblin has a Ghost Scepter himself, going to prevent a lot of Artstyle damage, but still not going to be helpful against Demon. Will Demon go for an Aghanims? That might be useful, but these team fights... I mean, they're starting to get more drawn out since the teams are starting to run circles around each other. You know, Artstyle has an Eagle Song, going to go for that Butterfly, give him a lot of damage. God has the point booster. He's bought back a couple times. He's going to go for the Aghanims now. Meanwhile, M has the Aegis of the Immortal. Meanwhile, like I said, Wisp has the Ghost Scepter. Looks like there was a gank on M. He's going to respawn, going to just get completely owned. Not even able to transform into the bear. Picked up the AC in the middle of all that, but still doesn't have enough buyback, so this might be EG's opportunity, but no, Dare just going to be pushing that bottom lane. EG's forced to drop back, considering they haven't taken any of the tier 2 towers. And will they be able to defend the base against Archstyle? Yes, looks like they will. Archstyle pops the time lapse, but he still picks up the tower very, very easily. Nicely done, as the purge is starting to tick in, but no, he's going to be A-okay. He's going to pop the Swarm, slowing down the creeps. And now Weaver is just becoming such a huge nuisance to deal with. Has Archstyle died at all in this game? Only one death for Archstyle. So other teams might want to look into this as just becoming more of a niche pick to deal with a lot of these more mobile lineups. Weaver still has a place in metagame, although he requires too much in order to become a truly dominant hard carry. But still, if he managed to make it work, he works off big time. Still, there is a reason why we see Morphling more than Weaver. Meanwhile, Meteor is going to be dropped with Wisp, and now Universe just melts to that fiery ball of death. And it looks like Dare, they can go on the offensive. Bear has respawned just now, so they might be waiting for Bear before they go for an all-in mid push. Meanwhile, Archstyle is going to get Hex along with Sonic Wave. Will he die? He pops the time lapse in the nick of time. Nicely done by Archstyle. And the meta, of course, helped him out a bit. And Archstyle did have enough gold for buyback, nonetheless. But still, never want to waste gold. Time lapse, pretty short cooldown at this stage in the game. And EG used a lot of cooldowns in order to use that. But Aghanims is picked up by Demon, going to be able to spend the ultimate and a Gem of True Sight. So now Archstyle is going to have to be more wary of the situation. 2,000 or 1,900 HP for Demon, so he's going to be pretty difficult to bring down, nonetheless. So we will see how Dare decides to approach this now. Aghanims being picked up by God. AC, of course, being picked up by the Bear. So Dare, they can go in anytime they want. But still, will they be able to break the teamfight and the AoE presence of EG? Looks like the Bear is going to be driven back for now. Just constantly farming it up with the Reigns. Meanwhile, Demon's going to blink in and then just get sent back for full mana. Meanwhile, Aegis is going to be quite a bit in terms of respawning as Invoker picks up a kill in the middle of the base. Just this Wisp is so hard to deal with as an observer. Just constantly have to have top-notch map awareness, which is something I definitely have to work on. So Invoker and Wisp just starting to pick up more and more in the late game. So I might just be completely stand corrected in terms of Wisp's effectiveness. I think EG might be overestimating their mobility. Just when somebody blinks in with a Hex, you're just going to get completely owned one way or another. So I don't even know if that's just on the fact of a Wisp pick. But still, they are utilizing the Wisp quite well. That's several times they've been able to get the initiation off, picking off one hero when EG's out of position. Get a Hex off, or get the Split Earth off, or even just get the Tether Stun off. And EG, they have a lot of mobility, but still aren't quick enough to reinforce the ganks. And Wisp just trolls out of there, gonna relocate back off to safety. So Wisp is probably going to see more attention in terms of bans just because he's such an annoying hero to deal with. My god, is he annoying. Meanwhile, Bear picks up a Talisman Nation. Nice item. Just going to be able to survive the Lifestealer, as looks like Archstyle is going to take a lot of damage. Pops the time lapse. Will he die? No, keep in mind there was a Gem of Penitence. Not going to do much when Archstyle can just Shikuchi out of there. Fear, pretty close to finishing his AC, but it looks like there's going to be another relocate in, and the Hex. Fear is not going to have a good time. Hand of God being popped. Will they be able to kill Fear? A couple more hits by Archstyle is going to clean up the job, but he manages to infest in, and looks like God may be a little trouble, but the relocate is casted, but Gem is up, and I don't think Talents is off cooldown just yet. No, and Archstyle is going to be the next one to die. Unfortunate for Archstyle is Demon picks up mod skill. Demon's played exceptionally well ever since that difficult time he had in the laning phase. Does Archstyle have buyback? He does not. He just finishes Butterfly. But still, EG is just being pressured on all lanes. They have no equilibrium to speak of, and they don't even have any tier 2 towers, so they can't push in for any base. So it's going to be very difficult for EG to deal with. So, looks like the Dare squad can just take this slow and steady. Still no points in overcharge being picked up. Nope, 4 points. My bad. As the tether icon was a little bit confusing for me. So he has max points in overcharge. Gonna give his teammates a lot of reduction in turn and give his teammates a lot of attack speed as well. And with the hero who moves pretty slow and steady like the bear, attack speed will make so much difference in terms of bringing down that tower. I want to see the bear just completely own a tower in about 2 seconds. Meanwhile, Fear going to be able to pick up the AC in about 80 gold, or in 2 more creeps. He has the AC, but will he save for a buyback instead? No, just finishes the AC. I would have done the same, just because you're not going to be pushing in anytime soon. If you lose a team fight, you're pretty much done anyway. You might as well go for as many items as you can just to survive. Just because even if you do buy back and win a team fight, you're not going to be able to push in and get a tier 3 tower before Dare all respawn. So picking up the AC is, of course, the right decision. I'd do it as well. Not that it's supposed to give you any sort of comfort, saying that I'd do the same thing, but still just trying to justify to myself why I do that instead of buyback. And I do think it is a smart choice. Meanwhile, Weaver just going to be oh so annoying to deal with. Bloodstone being picked up by Goblin. So despite being a support Leshak, he has a lot of items to his name of Ghost Scepter, Bloodstone, and Drums of Endurance. Going to be very difficult to deal with. Looks like EG, they're getting tired of being shut down in their base, but they're going to have to be wary of Wisp gank. They're just going to group with this 5 and try to get a kill or initiate a team fight because they know their heroes are starting to wane in effectiveness. Pen hasn't done too much recently. It's all been up to Queen of Pain and the Lifestealer. And Lifestealer being a melee single target clicker, not going to be too effective as this game continues to drag out. But still, the map control and the fact that all the tier 2 towers are up for Dare Squad, including a tier 1 tower as well, means that EG cannot push a lane as 5 without one of their lanes being pressed to their base. So now you see the importance of map control, guys. Even though it's 23 to 24, you can see Dare has such a huge lead as looks like Fear and Demon blink in. As I brought up the gold screen at just the wrong time, but Wisp managed to get off a relocate, gonna be able to heal up. Will EG be able to reinforce? As you can see, some teleports in. Will he abandon the Invoker? Looks like he's going to break the tether, going to sacrifice himself. Nicely done by Funny. As Wisp is going to die. Nope, pops the tether on Artstyle. Is he going to be able to escape? Surely not. No, Funny is going to die. Unfortunate for him. But still saved the Invoker, who would have surely died had the Wisp not been able to cast his relocate. So, nicely done by Funny. And keep in mind, EG devoted a lot of resources where they could have been pushing the lane, but they devoted a lot of resources to that gank. And Dare just going to take that, knowing that the creep equilibrium is complete, fearing them going to kill Roshan in about 2.5 seconds. Easy Aegis and Cheese going to be given. Looks like Cheese is going to be picked up by Artstyle, and Aegis is going to be picked up by the bear. God hasn't died in such a long time that he's like, nah guys, I don't even need the Aegis. Meanwhile, Heaven's Halberd being picked up. Nice item by M. Just going to disable Nyx from attacking for a couple of seconds. Or 3 seconds to be precise. And give his own hero bearer a lot of innate evasion. And there's no MKV up on the side of EG, so that evasion will matter a lot for a hero as tanky as the Lone Druid. And it's going to be useful in terms of counteracting a lot of that minus armor. So nice purchase by M. You know, Artstyle just melts with Soul Catcher and Sonic Wave. Wasn't even able to pop the cheese. So Artstyle being caught in position a couple of times. But Derek can afford to do this, but still, slowly but surely, you do not want to give a team as good as EG too many openings. Meanwhile, what is Fear picked up recently has 13 gold in the bank, has nothing on the courier. So he's not been able to pick up too many items recently. Meanwhile, guy's going to get a teleport scroll, teleport back while pushing the lanes. No, he's just going to probably teleport back. Actually, they're just going to give up this free tier 2 tower. Artstyle's death might give EG the momentum and the bravery to push in towards base. Looks like they're not going to slow down. Is this what EG was waiting for? Fear's just going to go on to town that tower. You see the Deso and the AC just doing too much. Here comes the tornado, sending everybody swirling up into the air. EMP, Ice Wall being dropped as Ball blinks in. Can they kill God? It's going to be a huge victory for EG if they can kill God, but he does have buyback, so he pops the BKB as well. God getting all the right items as Fear is going to get held in place by the bear. So annoying to deal with, and now Fear is going to be the first one to fall in this battle. Pendle is just going to have to start running away, and it's going to be very difficult for EG to start breaking in just because Bear is becoming such a huge problem. Not even Lifestealer, who is a pretty good counter against Bear, is able to deal with him this late in the game. as the tether is going to break the teleportation of Bulba. Bulba is going to be the next one to die. Does he have buyback? He does have buyback. He's going to be able to use it, but still, no ultimate for Bulba. As you can see, that Panda ultimate did pretty much nothing in that engagement. Meanwhile, God, with some nice jukes and the BKB, popped at a very fortunate time for him. And Artstyle respawning might give Darrow the momentum to end this game, as Wisp is going to teleport in, just going to push the creep equilibrium a bit harder, and then teleport to join back his team. As we can just watch Wisp tether in, it's going to go whoop. Meanwhile, we see that Goblin picked up a Boots of Child. Goblin is ridiculously farm as a Leshrac. This is like a Leshrac's wet dream. All this farm and all this gold. Looks like the clones are being made of Artstyle. Sonic Wave being dropped as well, but Artstyle just time-lapses it out. He still has a cheese. As long as he doesn't die, he'll be A-okay. As long as you don't die in general in Dota, he'll be A-okay. They're going to complete middle... ignore that middle barracks, just leave Leshrac, and just going to send the bear, destroy this top barracks. Looks like EG are going to be thwarted in their attempt to secure this victory. Dare looking in tip-top shape, just so much map control by Dare, just choked the life out of EG. Even though EG stuck around, fought extremely well, 25-26 in favor of Dare, as it looks like Fishara, or God, the Invoker died. He buys back, and Wisp is going to just teleport back. No, he died for that last screen pain meal. Artstyle going to pump out as much damage as possible before he pops the cheese. Yes, he just finally pops the cheese. He might go on the offensive to pick off a kill on Melk. He can probably kill Melk. You should probably kill Melk, dude. No, he has Ghost Scepter. Sunstrike whiffing, but still 2 racks being picked up by the Dare squad. And Bear was sent back by the Wisp, but still has an agency tomorrow, so he can go on the offensive and kill this last barracks. Picks up even a Basher, might be going for a Abyssal Blade if he should get the money. So Dare just looking very, very strong. And this is why Dare cannot be slept on. They will surprise you with picks like Weaver, and just utilizing Wisp in a very, very creative way. Just constantly ganking with the Hex on God and Leshrac, and just taking advantage of all the mispositionings by EG. But still, I do not imagine that EG would have as many people out of position if they were all in a lane environment like Dare are currently. And Dare, of course, can react much more quickly with that LAN environment advantage. Or at least communicate much more easily. So, now I do not see personally a way for EG to come back from this. They did some damage to that tier 3 tower, but still a lot of towers up for the Dare squad. And if they just save it for buyback, they should be just fine. God's been constantly buying back. But still, it's pretty difficult to kill even one hero at the Dare squad just because of Wisp and survivability of the Dare heroes. And now it looks like Dare is just going to go in for the finishing blow. Going to get off that Calling Blade and finish off EG and give themselves a better seed in this defense groups. What will the last team fight look like? We will wait and find out. Warrior Persuasion just steal Lava Spawn? Yeah, that Lava Spawn's mad tank now. Mad tank, yo. Meanwhile, Artstyle gets tethered. Sonic Wave being dropped going to do a huge amount of damage to Goblin, but still able to pop Pulse Nova. Pulse Novaing nothing but Invoker and Lone Druid pick up kills immediately on the 2 supports. Meanwhile, EG Fury is the next one to die, buys back, but it might be in vain as Mel calls it GG, well played. EG are going to take 3rd seed in this group. Dare picks the 2nd seed, so Dare might have an easier bracket. We shall see indeed. So this is going to be end of the defense groups. My voice is starting to die on me, a lot of casting recently. But still, hopefully y'all enjoy this nonetheless. I'll try to regain my voice before bringing you some more games of the defense playoffs. And if I can get some replays on the Star Ladder LAN tournament, then that'll just be fine and dandy. Still, more stuff coming away, future projects and shiz. So keep supporting me, keep looking out for B-Ball, as I will be back very, very soon with more action, more Dota 1 and 2 action. I might bring you more Dota 1 games very, very soon, because there's a very interesting MSI Overdrive tournament happening in Southeast Asia with some very surprising results. So thank you all for watching, and once again, have a fantastic night.